Well, we've been having this debate for the last several decades. Who should run this country, the elected representatives or the non-elected courts? Who should decide if America is going to change the historic definition of marriage? Should it be judges or the people? Well, that's the key question in the debate over marriage from coast to coast. And Mark Martin has that story from the heartland state of Iowa.
This is the face of tolerance. This is the face of tolerance.
Aggressive protesters pushing for homosexual marriage stormed the podium in Providence, Rhode Island, trying to shout down the executive director of the National Organization for Marriage. State police eventually brought order to the rally, where organizers say protesters even tried to intimidate children attending with their parents.
To have protesters storm the stage and start screaming in our faces, to have them threatening nursing mothers and children, shouting at a pastor as he's trying to pray, it really was unbelievable.
Brown witnessed intense confrontations as his organization took their traditional marriage message to 23 sites as part of the Summer for Marriage bus tour. The bus traveled throughout the country, including in the state some call ground zero in the battle, Iowa.
This is a battle for your future as Americans, for your future as a society, and for your future someday when you stand before the throne.
Last year, a unanimous decision by Iowa's Supreme Court thrust the state into the heart of the fight. Here is the home of the Iowa Supreme Court, where the justices issued an opinion which upheld same-sex marriage. However, those who advocate marriage between one man and one woman say that opinion is not law, and another example of the tyranny of judicial activism. Those pushing to override the court's decision say it goes against God's plan for marriage, current Iowa law, and the state's founding documents.
The courts cannot make law. The legislative function is for the legislature.
It's human nature to think that each time the court acquires for itself more power that was never granted to it through the Constitution, that emboldens them to then go and take more. If we don't fight this fight now, that all of our liberties are up for grabs.
One tactic in the fight is to vote out those who made the decision.
We need to be voting no on these judges. All of the judges were unanimous. The decision is simple. Just say no.
But there must also be a yes from state legislators allowing a constitutional amendment upholding traditional marriage to come up for a vote in the Iowa House and Senate. That would then pave the way for the issue to be put on the ballot, the focus of the Love Iowa campaign.
Let us vote.
In all 31 states where the definition of marriage went before the people, they chose marriage between a man and a woman.
Marriage is the fundamental building block of society. You redefine it, it affects all of us. It affects what's taught in the schools. It affects the way religious organizations are treated.
Supporters of homosexual marriage showed up at the state capitol in Des Moines to protest. But unlike what happened in Providence, here it remained peaceful, although somewhat vocal at times.
Excuse me, where do we sign up to vote on your marriage?
They're talking about fighting for something that they strongly believe in, and that's what we're doing here.
Those in favor of homosexual marriage say it's okay for the courts to have the final say.
It's not your place to vote on it. I mean, I'm not voting on your marriage. Why should you vote on mine?
We've had 2,500 people come in and get married, so it's been great for the state.
However, independent candidate for governor Jonathan Narcisse warns Iowans not to be quick to dismiss a vote by the people.
Judicial tyranny, whether it rules in my favor or against me, is unacceptable. And what people need to understand, even gay activists, is that if the courts can seize power for them, they can seize power against them.
We must send a message to the judicial branch that in Iowa, our Constitution plainly says that all political power rests within the people of Iowa, not within the courts.
Organizers of the Summer for Marriage tour want Americans to wake up and stand up for marriage between one man and one woman. Their goal is to collect 2 million signatures from voters who uphold heterosexual marriage.
The other side is counting on us going to sleep, going back home and becoming complacent. And we need to let them know that we will stand for marriage as long as it takes.
The name Iowa is said to have originated from a word meaning asleep. These days, however, when it comes to marriage, the eyes of many Iowans are open, along with their mouths, calling for the government to allow the people to have their say.
Let us vote. Let us vote. Let us vote.
Mark Martin, CBN News, Des Moines, Iowa.